In the following set of tutorials, we're going to take a look at using Adobe Flash Catalyst. This is a new piece of software put out by Adobe to help facilitate the creation of rich internet applications using the Flash Flex platform. Now, the reason that it came out was really to allow designers to work the way the designers like to work and allow developers to get the design files from those designers in a format that allows them to actually add all the rich interaction to it. So this is the first real version of Flash Catalyst that's been delivered as an application. Before CS5, it's been in the labs, and they already have a new version in the labs called Flash Catalyst Panini, which is definitely worth a look at. Anyway, we're going to create a very simple project here in this very first one, just so that we understand how Flash Catalyst works. So I'm going to create a new project from just Catalyst itself instead of dealing with design files. So just create a very simple one here, 600 by 400 or something like that, not 4,000. And once I've got this open here, let's just take a quick look at what we've got. Now, looks a little different than some of the other Adobe software, but of course there are some similarities. You'll notice that there aren't a lot of tools in here right now. A lot of the tools are kind of hidden from the fact that you get access to them through this heads-up display when you have them active, and you can do a lot of amazing things with this software, even though it looks pretty simple on the surface. Anyway, some new concepts we're going to have are going to be pages and states that we have here. You'll see that we have layers, which we're used to. We have a library, which has library items we might be using, and we have wireframe components. These wireframe components are here because since this application is meant to create prototypes or wireframes for rich internet applications, these are here to facilitate that very easily. We also have the ability to add interactions, and you'll see we do transitions to different states and things like that, and go to play action sequences and go to URLs, a whole bunch of things. Properties are going to be for those objects that we have created. Timelines is where we're going to see all of our different transitions, and of course this is our stage. Now we can zoom in and zoom out with Control plus and minus just like we're used to, and we can press the space bar in order to move around. So a lot of the things that we're used to with Adobe software. Let's get started on making a very simple project. Very first thing I'm going to do is take a button and drag it out. You'll see once I've dragged this button out, something appears on my heads-up display, and of course I can see properties about the button. Now I do want to be aware about when you drag these panels around, sometimes you can hide other panels that are there and not realize it. So just be aware of that as you're dragging things. Anyway, I've got a button there, and you'll see I've got some basic properties about the button: the size and width and the height, the opacity, and I even have a label here, and I know this is going to be my home button, so I've just named that immediately. And some of this other stuff here are the color of the text, possibly, so I just changed the text to red very easily. And then, you know, some couple other things. I could add a filter, maybe a drop shadow if I really wanted to. Not to say that we need to do that, but it's kind of cool that you can. Anyway, there's my first home button. Now if I look at my library, let's see if we have anything here. No library items yet. I wonder if I can use that as a library item. No, I guess not. In fact, I tried to drag this thing out, don't have access to it anymore. I've never used the library item, so maybe if I import a library package I can. So I'm not going to worry about that. Anyway, I'm going to drag out a couple other buttons. This way the button is back to the default state, and this is going to be for my two little boxes that I use to animate to. So I'm going to create a copy of it, and I'm going to do that with Control C and Control V just so I can create my own copies, and I'll put those two side by side. I might zoom in a little bit just so I can see a little bit closer to my work. And you'll notice that they're not aligned, so I'm going to select all my buttons, right click, choose Align, and align them to the top. So some basic things that you're going to want to do when you're working with this is align your objects. Notice this. you can't align all three at the same time. You can really only align two, which is kind of interesting. You'll notice that they didn't all align at the same time, even though I selected all three. So hopefully that's one of the things that's been fixed in Panini. What we're going to do now is create a couple of other objects. So I'm going to go to the rectangle tool up here, and I'm going to scroll down just a little bit and create just a box. Now the box currently just has a white fill, but I'm going to change it into a red fill so I can use that in a little bit. And if I wanted to, I could also change the stroke, but that doesn't really matter for what we're going to do. And here's basically our first state. We have a home button, two other buttons, and of course we should give those names. I'm going to call this page 1, and I'm going to call this page 2. And you'll see why in here in a little bit. And then this one, of course, is going to be going to the home page. So go ahead and do what you've done, and then let's save this project. I'm going to save it into the project where I'm saving my folders. And this is going to be my sample project. And you'll notice it's saving as an FXP. That's a exchange. Let's see, that's a Flash, I guess, Catalyst project. But what we've actually been creating here, which is kind of interesting, is a lot of code behind the scenes. So if you take a look at it, this is the flex code that we've been creating. We've got a button here, the label is home. We've got another button with a label called page 1, another button with a label called page 2. And we've got items here. Here's the item that we created, which is a solid. And it's even got which color I have that solid. So what this is an XML version of Flash ActionScript 3.0. It's basically shorthand ActionScript in an XML version, and we're creating all these files here on the right. These are all the files that are part of this project, and we'll never be actually working with those files. We're just going to go back to them here and there just to take a look at what's going on behind the scenes. But this is where a coder or a developer might come in and take your project from the design side and add all of the other ActionScript and data in the back end so that you can create a rich application using some pretty nice design files. And you'll see how that works as we go a little bit further through the project, but we'll never be worrying about the code. We're only going to be worrying about the design stuff. So go ahead and save your work and go on, and in the next one we're going to go and create some page transitions and take a look at layers.